Beautiful, everybody. Yes, dancing. We like to dance in between as much as we can. And it helps you too when you move around, because you know what the movement does? It integrates what you've learned. So if you just take a minute and move to the music, you will be so much more embodied with what you just learned, I promise you. So wasn't that really good? We've got some great things going on. 3 minutes of planking. Excellent, Katrina. Excellent, excellent. So we're going to be really going in this next module. So we've talked about who you are and what your vision is. We've talked about where you are on the map of entrepreneurship in terms of where you want to go. And now we're going to go more deeply into who you are. What are your special gifts, skills, and talents? And how does that impact the business that you're actually building? When you put all three of those things together, you have both an outer way of knowing where you're going, but also you have more inner guidance for where you're going, because you know more who you are, you're more connected to that, and you're more connected to your vision. So Miss Donna, you are the one who did such a marvelous job structuring this. Will you tell us more about this, please, ma'am?
Well, we're actually going to hear from Roger again in a moment, but this is my other most favorite framework of Roger's, and they really do start to build a matrix together.
Yep.
So this is what position you're playing on the field. We often talk about it in the terms of team and looking at who you need to bring into your team. That is definitely a component of it. As we know, playing to your strengths means that there's some weaknesses and some gaps that someone else is going to have them as their strengths. So that is absolutely a part, bringing your team together. I do want to focus today, however, you, the entrepreneur. So this is a startup program, thinking about you, the entrepreneur, and what business are you starting? And we're going to have a look, after we hear Roger's video, some examples of different profiles in the same industries, building their businesses in different ways so that it actually suits them. Because when you are that player level, that's you. You're out there. Think of the analogy of like playing basketball. If you're the Michael Jordan, you're bouncing that ball, you're shooting those goals. Do you shoot goals? Score goals in basketball? I'm not sure. Anyway, that ball goes in the hoop and everyone like screams and cheers. And you're doing that like time and time again because you're the number one player, right? And so if you're going to be there being that number one player, you've got to love what you do. And that is not just playing to your talents as in the operational side of the business, but creating the whole business model that it works in a way for you as well, that you have that fulfillment. It might be that when you move up in the wealth spectrum, you have other people leading the business. We have, for example, we had Tamami on this morning's call. Tamami is at Blue Level. She's our global partner in Japan, and she's a Lord profile. So she creates a business that is very community-based. She has the entire Japan community, thousands of people. She ran a Japan Festa in July, on which Roger spoke. I was on there briefly. But Tamami is not even the CEO. At Blue Level, she has a CEO in place, and she has her green level performers in place, and she has her yellow level players. So even though they're out there being very customer facing all the time, building that community, connecting with the community, running events online and offline, Tamami as a Lord profile is not. She's kind of conducting the way that the business is run. But when you are at yellow level player, you need to think about the type of business model that you're going to be creating. We're going to do more of that on day 3, but really good to start thinking about that now. Shoot hoops. Thank you, Atem. That's it. Shooting hoops. Clearly, I was a netballer, not a basketballer growing up. And I live in Australia. It's not so mainstream. Okay, let's get into watching this video, and we'll have a chance to talk more about it on the other side. So I will share. This goes for about 10 minutes. It's a short video. And
hi, it's Roger Hamilton with the next step within the Millionaire Master Plan, which is how do you follow your natural path? So within the Millionaire Master Plan, as I mentioned earlier, there is a lighthouse. There are a number of steps within it, and on every one of the floors within this lighthouse, there is 8 different paths which link to this square here. I'm just going to go into the square in a little bit more detail now so we can kind of see how it fits with where you are and where you're going. Now, first of all, the square, and the reason that there is the square is that we have opposites in how we go about doing things. The Chinese talked about this a long time ago when they talked about yin and yang, and we know this, night and day, male and female, that all things can be broken into polarities, and it's when you actually have the opposites that you can really find balance. And so within these opposites, there is a fundamental equation, and the equation is that wealth equals 2 things, one thing called value multiplied by something called leverage. And depending on which of the opposite ways you create value, which is either on the top or on the bottom, or which of the 2 ways that you create leverage, which is on the left or the right, all your flow in life will occur. And what I mean by flow is we could actually turn this from an equation into a diagram. If I was to share it as a diagram, it would look something like this. Think about water flowing. Water will always flow from high grounds to low ground. You need to have a height differential. And exactly the same value will determine the speed of flow of money. Because when you have a value differential, you know, if I said I'm going to sell my shoes for $50, if someone wanted to buy my shoes for $50, it means that they don't value the $50 as much as my shoes. They'd rather swap and have my shoes and give me the money. And as a result of that, because they value the shoes more than I do, it's their money that flows from them to me. Money will always flow when there's a value exchange. So when you know that, it's like, okay, so as long as I'm creating value, then I'm going to be able to create money flow. And that's true, you can. But there's 2 opposites in how value is created, as we'll see in a moment. And frankly, it's not just about the speed of money flow, it's also about the volume of money flow as well. And the volume of money flow will be determined by something called leverage. So for example, if I said I wanted to make $100 from shoes instead of 50, I'd have to do one of 2 things. I'd either have a pair of shoes that would double the value, so as a result someone would pay 100 instead of 50, or I'd sell 2 pairs of shoes, which means that I'd be now creating more leverage from that same value, and I've got a wider river. Now there's also 2 opposites to leverage as well, and let's have a look and see what they are. So let's go back to the square and say, if we have a plan for the lighthouse, and remember, there's 9 different levels here. So you might be listening to this and already be really successful. You might be just starting in your first business, but all of this will link to you regardless of which level you're at. First of all, value has 2 opposites, which are either innovation, which is something that comes naturally for people who are dynamo. So dynamo geniuses at the top, you're great at starting new things. You're great at the beginning of new things. And you're great at answering the question, what? And you have a thinking dynamic, which is called intuitive thinking. Intuitive thinkers are the ones who have their head in the clouds. And so if you're at this level here, then innovation is something natural to you. One of the 8 profiles, which is this one here, is someone called a creator. And a creator is someone who naturally creates new products. It's what they do, that's what they do best. Many creators are out there still trying to run their own business. And if you're a creator, that's not necessarily what you should be doing. Other people can run the business better than you can. But as creators, they think they can do everything better because they just love getting started in things. But once you pass it on to other things, just like Richard Branson, he's got over 200 businesses that he's able to run by not running them himself. So he can keep on creating new things and staying in his flow. The opposite of a creator down here is someone called a trader. A trader is not a dynamo genius. A trader is a tempo genius. They don't have their head in the clouds. They've actually got their ear to the ground. And a tempo genius is not intuitive in their thinking dynamic. They're sensory. Like this is the difference of temporal lobe, which is at the back of the head, compared to the frontal lobe, the intuitive side, which is all about basically creativity as opposed to senses. Sensory people are not needing to be creative or innovative, because through being sensory, the opposite way of creating value is through timing. You know, you don't need to create anything if you know when to buy, when to sell, if you know when to go back to the customer and provide the right service at the right time. So this is a very different type of person. Someone like a George Soros, who's a trader, can trade the markets without ever having to create anything. In fact, even more so, this person here, an accumulator, is someone who can actually create a system to accumulate, to collect. Someone like a Warren Buffett is much more introvert, as opposed to someone here, a deal maker, which will be someone like Donald Trump, who is always making money through the people as opposed to through the analysis. Now, so why they're left and right as well? And the reason is because in the same way that there are two opposites in our thinking dynamic, and I'll do this in a different color, so we have it, let's do it in black here. Thinking dynamic here, we also have got an action dynamic. And all of this work, by the way, is not mine. This is something which Carl Jung came up with a long time back. This is back in the beginning of the 20th century. And Carl Jung, he learned a lot of what I'm sharing here from the studies that he did of a system that goes back 5,000 years called the I Ching. In fact, the I Ching, which is called the Book of Changes, which is about how everything goes in flow in China, that was a book which was first published in the West by Carl Jung. And what you'll find here is that in the same way that this thinking dynamic has opposites, which is a yin and yang, there's also opposites on action, which are introvert and extrovert. So if we can say the introverts on this side doesn't mean that they just do everything on their own, but it does mean the way they act internally is more important to begin with than the way they act externally by connecting with other people. Whereas opposed to extroverts, where they will naturally be working through others. Remember we talked earlier about what, who, when, and how. There's a natural question, like left brain, right brain. There's a different part of our brain we're using when we're focusing at one particular area. And every successful person in business has always focused at one that they've done well. So for example here, an introvert who's creative is called a mechanic. And all the people that have created amazing systems, someone like Sam Walton with Walmart, someone like Ray Kroc with McDonald's, nowadays people like Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, they're more introvert, and people might even criticize them for not being out with people as much. But this is their winning formula. As opposed to the extrovert, someone here who's a star, very creative but through people, someone like an Oprah Winfrey, they don't need to be so focused at the numbers and the detail and the analysis, because they're actually doing what they love best, which is getting into flow around people. Now, each of these two also has an opposite way they create leverage. This is the widening of the river. So you see that on this side, those who are more introvert focused, they have a way they leverage, which is something called multiply. And multiply, which is what the steel geniuses do best, multiply is being able to make things simple and make many, as opposed to this side here, which is magnify, which is not about making things simple. In fact, the people can't help but make things complicated, which is fine, because this is not about making it simple and making many, it's making it complex so there's only one. There's only one Oprah Winfrey brand. You know, there's only one Donald Trump. And by understanding that these two here in the center, the Lord who's a landlord that can actually multiply out their assets and the cash flow they're generating from it, is very different. Someone like a Rockefeller, someone like a Larry Page at Google, who's all about the system of cash flow, very different from the system of people, which is all about someone like a supporter, like a Jack Welch, who's a great leader, someone who's able to actually lead through the people, and instead of it being efficient, it's about being effective. Very different type of person. And one of them is asking the question, how can I do this without me? Whereas the other one is asking the question, how can I only do it with me? You have a natural path that when you follow it, allows you to be able to connect to the right team and also connect to the right pathway for you. Now, there's many different levels that we can go through in here, but let me just share one. We just put also here the summer energy, which is Blaze, which is how do you actually build a team that's going to support you? And there's a 1, 2, 3 formula that you can follow, really simple, which is take wherever you are. Like I'm a creator, that's number 1. The most important person for me to find for my team is 2 across. 1, 2, which is supporter. Because if I can actually find a supporter here, then that's someone who's great with the people. So I'm not trying to be out with the people at the same time that I'm trying to actually create something new. And then if I was to think of this like a stool with 3 legs, the next person, 1, 2, 3, would be the accumulator who would be great at my numbers, great at the detail, so I don't have to be doing that part. There's always a way to find a group of, you'll find the same with a star. A star, always all stars come alive when they find a deal maker that can actually do the deals for them and find a lord that's able to do all the analysis. And so it goes on with each one of these as well. That once you actually get a stable balance, your losing formula is someone else's winning formula. What you do best is what someone else somewhere struggles with, and vice versa as well. So be really aware that once you actually understand there's a flow for you, then it becomes really clear that you need to build a team where you can allow them to be in their strength while they're also allowing you to be in yours.
Okay, thank you, Roger. Oh, I've lost my slides. Always good to hear, right? Geez, I think I've heard that now. I'd have to be getting close to 1,000 times, and I still get aha moments every time I hear it. There's just something that I remember for maybe a client or for myself. Super, super powerful. This is about having more insight into you and also insight into others, and shifting from maybe a space that sometimes you're a bit frustrated or annoyed with other people because they're not like you. They do things differently. Their strengths are often your weaknesses. But hey, why aren't they doing it as fast as I want? Who are all the creators on here? Do we have many? Yeah, we got a lot of creators. If you ever find yourself like, why don't the team just hurry up and get that thing done? That's because you're head in the clouds, no concept of time and reality. Hence, it's the Peter Pan, is it nursery rhyme, fairy tale? That is the story of the creator. You know, if someone's going slower, we need to learn to appreciate and value that. And what does that bring to the table? You know, I have a trader profile on my team. We are complete opposites in terms of speed and initiation and innovation, but I shouldn't try and make them into a creator. I need to value them for what they bring in that tempo energy. So really look at, again, your strengths and your weaknesses, and find someone else that has your weaknesses as their strength. It's so much more enjoyable when you get out of trying to make everyone be just like you. You actually get more done, you achieve more, you see the greatness in other people and you bring that out of them. And that overall impact of that mission that you're wanting to create happens better than trying to do it all on your own. So let's have a look at just 2 more aspects around the profiles before I go in and share a couple of examples with you. When we're looking at your natural path to your personal flow, there is a natural way that you will lead. And I just find these super insightful. So I wanted to share them with you. Dynamo energies, creation-based, task-based. Dynamos will be task-focused. They will be able to see the big picture, know all the things that need to happen in order for that to occur, for that outcome to happen. And often will lead the team focusing on, is that task done? If you look at tempo geniuses, tempo profiles, it's more consultative. They'll want to have more of that quality time and connection where you can show them how to do things, you know, speak through the process more, speak through what the big picture is more, then they will get to the activities. And, tempo people are having 101 activities going at once. Creators will have 101 thoughts going at once, not necessarily in action. Doesn't mean one is more right or wrong than the other, more right than the other. There's a time and a place, and you need both, right? If you look at steel geniuses, very focused on calculations, the analysis and so forth, definitely are data-based. It's like, show me the facts, show me the proof, or let's get the data and analyze that and make decisions based on that, versus, again, Dynamo might make decisions on their intuition. You might end up in the same place, but you'll come about it in different ways. So one of my dear friends and someone I do a fair bit of business with, he's a digital marketer. He's a lot more on the steel side, and I'm in Dynamo on that, and as a creator. And when we talk about business strategy, I am often more intuiting what I feel is right. I'm bringing in the intelligence side to it, but it's more, no, I think this is the right game plan for these reasons. And he will go, Donna, let's see what the data tells us on that, right? And we might end up at the same place, and we often do, but he's got the facts to back it up. And I love that, because we should be data-driven companies as well. The intuition without that data backing it up, we can miss some things. But also, if we just focus on data alone, sometimes we miss some of the other magic that's there that comes from intuition, and also the other key aspects and traits that we see in Blaze and Tempo as well. Blaze is the fourth energy here. This is people focus. It's all about collaboration. A steel person might say, good morning, everyone. What were the targets that you achieved today? What were your actuals on those? Versus a Blaze person might come in, start the day, start the meeting. Hi, everyone. How was your weekend? Did we all have a great weekend? Steel people are like, can we just get on with the facts, please? Dynamo people are like, well, I want to know why so-and-so is behind on their tasks, and when are we going to have this milestone done? Tempo is just like, can everyone chill and please show respect, and let's talk through this in a facilitated manner. So know your strength here. How do you lead more naturally? And what do your people need as well? The second piece is, how do we learn? There's a natural way that we learn. Why do we do slides? It's not to show that we're good at looking fancy. It's not everybody is an auditory learner. I am not an auditory learner. If someone speaks at me for an hour, I can get it. But if there's no visuals accompanying it, I'm drawing the visuals in my head. I'm a very visual learner. You can give me a diagram and I can join the dots, more so than needing to hear all the words with it. Other people are kinesthetic. Our Tempo is. That's where it might be show them first. So if I'm teaching somebody who is more Tempo based, it's best to first show, then do together, then have them do it. I can give feedback. Versus my auditory people, we can give instructions via auditory, via words, and they'll get that and run and do it. Analytical side, that's the SOPs, the manuals. That steel energies are the ones that are going to buy a new car and read the operating manual, versus the, dynamos will just get in and start pushing buttons and see what they break and don't break. And our blazers will probably use their voice or their leadership abilities to get someone to do it for them. And our kinesthetics are best to, you know, be shown, work through it, get the feel for it. And so very different ways that we actually learn. Pop in the chat for us here. What is your primary way of learning? What do you feel is your primary way of learning? And does it match to your profile? Okay, let me make my chat screen a bit bigger. Mixture, we've got visual, analytic, bit of auditory and visual, kinesthetic, then auditory. Yeah, I see that in you, Susan. Analytical and visual. Don't know, Eileen. Cool. We'll start taking notice now on what works for you and doesn't work for you. Like, when does learning feel hard versus when it feels easier? Sometimes even the subject matters that are not your area of expertise, you know, can be easier to learn when someone speaks your language in the delivery of it. Visual, but you're a trader, okay? If we looked at your profile, maybe there's a bit of dynamo energy in there as well, possibly. Okay, so a bit of a mixture there. Fascinating. I find it fascinating anyway. Okay, how am I going for time here? What I'd like to share with you next, just before you go into your breakout rooms, is on the slide deck that Lisa and Mary have shared with you. There are some slides there showing your inflow roles and your outflow roles, or your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, everybody should have done their profile. If not, do reach out to us. In your reports, you will have this. You will have already read your report, I'm sure, and you will be a little bit familiar with what is inflow and out of flow, or your strengths and your weaknesses for you. But you can also refer to these slides. So do have a look at those today and just see, yeah, where are you showing up, using your talents more. We even go back to the Ikigai with that. It's not necessarily black and white. Everybody's spider graph on their profile, you know, all creators aren't created equally. They will have a different mixture of dynamo and blaze and steel and tempo than the next creator. And so sometimes you might go, okay, well, some of the out of flow roles you're still good at. So for me, for an example, detailed analysis. I love it. I actually think I'm pretty good at it. But I would say it's a learnt behavior from being 10 years as an accountant, more so than it is my natural thing. Now, I am very good at it. I do love it. But I was sharing with the group this morning, if you put me alongside of a real steel detailed person, like we had Sandra Morell, who we used to call our Queen of Steel. She was General Manager of Entrepreneurs Institute. I would say, oh, Sandra, I'm good at like steel. I love this. And she's like, yeah, you are, but you're such a baby steel, Donna, compared to her, where she was full Lord steel energy, definitely about all of the analysis. So have a look at these for yourself. See what's your strength, what's your weakness. Have a look at the people in your team. It might help you understand them a little bit more if they haven't done the profile. What I wanted to share next is just a couple of examples of people that are in a similar industry but are very different profiles and therefore have different business models. I'm going to use the coaching and mentoring industry. So there's two gentlemen. This one here, first of all, Abundance Global. This is David Dugan. I worked with him, not when it was called Abundance Global, back when it was Elite Enterprises. And I helped him for about 18 months, pull all of his IP together, added in some of my IP in there. He's a supporter profile. So he is brilliant at when he's with people in front of them, he was able to just get in tune with what their problems were and give them the guidance that they needed. But he felt he didn't have his version of Roger's formats, right? So we created that because when he would talk, I would get him to just talk through with me. I'd say, and then what would you tell them? Okay, and then if this happened, what? And then if this, what? And I was able to create his frameworks that were unique to his style. As a supporter program, his business model was very focused on events and that extroverted side, that magnification side. We ran so many retreats. I can't remember how many webinars I wrote on the online information, but he loved it, loved standing up in the room, shining the light on other people, really getting them to connect and network and support each other and lift each other up. Super successful. His best mate, Jesse, comes along. They were both in the Navy as dentists together. Jesse said, okay, I want to create a business that's mentoring a specific niche of dentists and orthodontists, because he also had a successful practice, which he scaled. And I said, okay, but he's like, I want to do it like David's, but for dentists. We were both like, don't think you're going to enjoy that because it's a lot of people facing time. Jesse is a mechanic profile. He's like, no, it's only like so many times a year. And you know, the group calls, it's not that personal. I was like, I don't think so, but all right, this is what I would do if I was you. But he wanted to do it that way. He did it for a while. And then he was like, maybe I should just go back and be a dentist and pull out, you know, over $500,000 a year. Forget about trying to create this, because he was getting burnt out with being a mechanic, trying to show up and deliver in a supporter style. So we changed it, right? We changed the model. At the time, this is Jesse's, he called it Practice Max. It's now called Savvy Dentist. I helped him pull his curriculum together. That's me and my creator side. And now it's less. And even if you look at the websites, right, it's got common frustrations. Here's the key things. Here's our solutions. This is how we do it. Very clear. It's high performance by application only. You know, if you don't meet the bar, then go away. Versus David's, even when you scroll through it, it's like all these people in the background. You know, we're going on a journey together. Be our success. You know, here's someone getting an award, lots of celebrations. Clients are talking about, you know, community and all sorts of things. It's a lot more blazy focused on there. So both coaches, but two different business models. Jesse peeled back the number of events, brought more people in to deliver, and put a lot more systems and processes and kind of business in a box for the dental clients. Hugely successful, loving it. Didn't go back and go into his clinics. He is running the Savvy Dentist and the Practice Max program. Another two examples at that next level up are this one, first of all, actually, this one here, the Growth Institute. Vern Harnish, the guy who wrote Scaling Up, Rockefeller Habits, he's a co-founder of this. Very steel-based, very multiply, leverage. You can see it's about There's courses that you can do for what level you're at. And here we are. There's like straight away it's talking about like the memberships and what you get from it. If I go to the home page, okay, there's membership offers, there is free training and enrollment. Here's all the people in it. You can see it's leveraging off of other people. So it's not just about him. It's loads of people that have their content inside of the membership. So very steely based, highly leveraged there. If we compare that in contrast to Joe Polish, you may have heard of him. He runs the Genius Network. Roger's been a part of this before. I'm not sure if he's a star or a supporter, but he's definitely on that blazy side. And you can see, again, coaching, mentoring, it's very high end. It's all about community. There's people here. It's all about him. You fly out to meet him. Here's some people here. You can even see it's in cartoon, handwriting, colorful pictures, right? You may not make it in or stay for long if you haven't. So it's like, when are you not a fit for us as well? It talks about the community. Oh, sorry, that's the page I'm actually on. If I go back to the main page, again, join your tribe of tribal leaders. Very blazy. Talks about connection, contribution. Here, right? Your network, your net worth. Very blazed focus. So use your profile if you're going to be the player to really look at what's the industry, what's the delivery of the services or the products if you're going to be at the forefront being that player. Now, we are going to get more into that, particularly on day 3 when we go through Master Your Market, where you put together what your business model is and your product suite. We'll be able to see if that's a fit for your profile and also the type of business you're wanting, the level of business you're wanting to create. Now, businesses can grow and evolve, but hopefully that makes sense. You can see when you're starting out, thinking about delivering it in a way that's also going to work for you. Lisa, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to stop talking for a moment. And I think we can probably give people a chance to jump in and discuss what they've learned and then come back and we can all talk about it together. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's great. And I loved those examples, Donna. It was really good to see the same industry, different examples. So yeah, share what your big insights are, everybody, and what is it that, you know, really stands out for you in terms of what you're working on in your business as you go. So all right.
So we'll have 12 minutes as well. Do share your profile, share maybe what's your top strength and your weakness that you see, but definitely your insights and your thoughts, as Lisa said, on, you know, what stood out for you in that session that you can take with you moving forward into the rest of the week. So
Beautiful.
Tal, if you can send us into breakout rooms and we'll see you on the other side. Let's hit record.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, type in the chat, please. What's your big, like, what was your group big takeaway?
What was your group big takeaway?
Oh, you're on
a little
stereo,
feedback.
Lisa.
Yeah, I've got somebody having some feedback. I think somebody might have just been muted. Okay, yeah, type in the chat what's your takeaway, and let's have a couple people share. Maybe 2. Oh, we've already got Savo. There you go, Donna. Am I saying your name correctly, Savo?
Yeah, my name is Savio. Yeah.
Savio. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, very quick takeaway is by the time as an accumulator, I always need to keep track of the time or things like that. When I put that up, put the timer up, my my fellow star member already say, oh, okay, it's not my way.
I love it.
Well, this is what I learned, and that's what my experience with working with the team. I always got some, even I was allocated to keep track, but when my fellow partners who are in the Blaze Energy, they feel I'm in their way and feeling not comfortable, although my role was supposed to do that. So this is a good takeaway for me to learn how to interact with them. Thank you.
Yeah. And how to interact is key, you know, rather than reacting, because if we all get defensive, it just, you know, instead of smiling and nodding and going, well, just being fair so everyone gets to be heard.
Yeah, beautiful. So everybody, in addition to thinking about what happened in your room, like we're coming to a close today, like what is your big thing for the day? Thank you, Savia. What is your big thing for the day? And we have some people saying the great content in the slides today, Donna. Woohoo, let's
New
give her some
content,
applause.
really?
Middle of the night applause for Donna. Yeah, I'm going to give you your assignment in just a minute, Eileen, and I'm going to go over where to do it, all that kind of stuff in just a minute. We're just going to close. Great content. Hailing says, anything else anybody want to like drop in the
Hailing
chat?
has got her hand up. Did you
Yes,
want to
Hailing.
share, Hailing?
Oh, yes. I think, just it's this morning, I really got a lot of insight. And I think I just want to share one at the last session. So when Tim and Susan were in the room, so you look at, I really like this, this is square thing, right? So, now like I connect this, also with the, with the financial thing, like the 9 levels. I think, oh, because when you're at the, very low level, like a red, orange, because, you just kind of leverage your own strengths because that's a value you input and basically to earn money and to make your living. Now you want to move to the yellow, to the green and to the blue. Now you have to be with the team because that's where the leverage, is come from, right? So the value and the leverage, I think it's all, to me, like, the last session is really let me connect all the dots together. So thank you.
Awesome. Definitely read the Millionaire Master Plan book if you haven't, because it goes even deeper into the way that the 4 different geniuses, it doesn't break it into the 8 profiles, but it is the 4 genius types, how they move through each of the levels, the do's and the don'ts for those. So super powerful. I think Lisa's got a copy of the book she's going to give away tomorrow, actually. So
We are going to give away a copy of the
see who
book
can win
tomorrow.
it.
Yep. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And yes, there'll be a recording. And let's everybody just give your love to Donna today. Middle of the night. Thank you, Donna. Yes. You did a phenomenal job. We want you to go get some rest. And I'm going to be telling you what to do about your homework, or not homework, submission. Yep, Donna, you
Okay.
are amazing.
I'm going to go
love you,
and see
Donna.
the sun come
All
up.
right. Yes. Get some
I'll
sleep.
see you all tomorrow.
Much gratitude, Donna. Much gratitude.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Bye, sweetie. Thank you. Okay, so I'm dropping in the chat again the link for the slides for today, the submission slides, and then I'm about to explain to you what to do, and then I'm going to talk about the micro degree. So when we get through the submission slides, that's how you're actually going to possibly win a physical millionaire. We're going to give away 1 physical Millionaire Master Plan book tomorrow. And I'm going to show you how you're going to win it. So first things first, everybody's got the submission slides, but let me just tell you what you need to do with the submission slides. Okay, so right here up in the upper part, when you make a copy of it, it's going to say copy of ES Microschool. I want you to put your name right here. And that way I'll be able to tell whose submission it is without having to open the thing. Okay, so then you're just going to put a little bit of content about your business. And then you're going to fill out the Life 5.0 deck. It's only 4 slides. Yay. So it gives you what it is that you're working with right here, a summary. You're going to do the Ikigai score, put that in there for yourself. Then you're going to just answer some pieces about your vision. This is a great time to get deeply connected to that vision and to really let yourself dream and to really create what's next from what do you want to see? What do you want to experience a year from now? And then do this perfect day, really feeling into that. And then the last thing, these are all about you and what it is you want. What's your contract of commitment to your future self? And how are you going to review and remind yourself of it? That's all you're going to do. So if you're good with that and you know where to submit, then you can be done. But if you don't, let me walk you through it. In the micro school, which that link is also there. I think I'll put the link to the micro school. Maybe I'll put the link to the degree. Let me just double check and make sure I drop in the link to the micro school. Just in case, there's a link to the micro school. Now in here, we'd love in the discussions to hear what your big takeaways were for today. Like, what is it that you are excited about? Because we want a little activity and action in here so we can remember what was so good about this. And on the welcome page, there's all kinds of helpful information for you. But where you're going to find the place to do your submission is under the degree tab, right here under NASA EMEA. And the main thing is you're going to scroll down and click start. Now, once you've done that, it's going to give you access. When we're finished today, later, our Phenomenal Tech guy is going to upload all of the videos from today. So you'll be able to see them in here in just a little while. They're going to show up, you know, right on this place, but right here's the slides. So you've got them just in case. Where are those slides? You can't find them. But how you're going to make your submission is you're going to go to day 1 submission. Everybody see that? Easy breezy. Now these submissions, so tomorrow we're giving away 1 copy of the book. This is kind of going to like add up to what this big, I just lost the word. Sometimes it happens. The big competition. That's the word I'm looking for. So now this is not actually a link for me, but you're going to put, and I'm going to show you again where you're putting your name right up here. You see this? Now, oh, here's the other sticky fine point. We got to make sure right here. Lisa Michaels up there. Now, sticky fine point, you go to share. And if you don't do this, nobody's going to know. Can y'all see this little thing that says access? Can y'all see that on top? You have to change this to anyone with the link. And that's where you copy the link. It's that link. And I can go back through this in just a second for anybody who needs it. It's that link. You're going to drop in here. You're going to click next. And there you go. You've gotten back. See that little submission thing is green? You did it. Your submission is complete. It is from people who did their submission. I'm going to put those names in a bowl and I'm going to draw one tomorrow for the winner of the book. So making your submission is how you get into the contest. So I'm going to take questions. Does anybody need me to, first of all, go over any part of that again? Everybody good? Everybody's good? Woohoo, woohoo, everybody's good? How about a list of steps? Okay, let's go through the list of steps. You're going to open, and I'm not going to type this down because I'm talking. You're going to open your submission. Open your submission. Step 1. Step 2, let's go open our submission again. If you are finished, you can leave. If you understand, you are welcome to go. I'm just going to help those people who still need help. Step 1, open your submission. Step 2, change your name. You can even do it while we're talking about it. Change your name. Step 3, fill the thing out. Put all of the answers in each of these 4 sheets. Step 5, maybe somebody's writing this down. I don't know. Okay. Step 5 is change to anyone with the link from restricted and copy the link. Step 6, go to the micro degree, hit start, which you have to do for even to get in it, and then go to day 1 submission and put your submission in. Pretty simple, right? Yeah, pretty simple. Somebody typed something in the chat. Let me see what they said. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Yes, thank you. Any questions from there? Does everybody get all those steps? That was a great question to put it in steps, Eileen. Okay, simple, simple, simple. Are you good? Is everybody good? All right, bravo. I will see all of you friendly faces tomorrow. Yep, absolutely, Katrina. Yep, yes, Jack, absolutely. Any other questions? I'm right here for you. Open the submission, change the name, fill out the slides, change to anyone with the link and copy the link, go to the micro degree, hit start, day 1 submission and enter it. Yes, Eileen. Bravo. Thank you for typing that up. You rock. Really appreciate it. Can you provide an example of contract of commitment? Well, I can give you one that I'll make up on the spot. I don't have one that is an example, but I can give you one. How about that? Would that help?
Yes.
All right, let me just give it a second. So I commit to weekly reviewing my plan for the quarter so that I am and my future vision so that I am directing my business from where I am and remembering what those 2 things are every week. Like I commit to reviewing my future vision and my plan for the week every week on Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Does that make sense? So what I'm doing with that commitment is I am determining now what I want to be sure to do to create results. And we're going to be going over the quarterly plan, but you got to have a plan to know how to direct your business. So you can just absolutely, even if you don't know how to create one yet, you can absolutely put that as something you're committing to. Yes, Rosemary, absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Any other questions? Yeah. I'm here for you. Anything else anybody needs to know before you head off today? All right. If you're all good, I'll see you tomorrow. Happy working, happy creating, happy filling in your plans. Let's see who wins. All right, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. See you.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.